What is going on, everyone? I hope all of you are doing well. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new video. So I will point this out. Um, January is going to kind of be a tough month I wouldn't say tough month, but you won't see a video every single day for this month. You might, it just really depends. January is kind of, I'm trying to get out of that, you know, Christmas slump, that 2024 slump, trying to get things squared away. So January is kind of that month where I'm just, trying to get used to the new year, as well as, trying to get things done and take care of things, especially for the channel. So once that's taken care of, moving forward, you'll start to see videos on a daily basis. But today's video, I wanted to share 6 movies with you guys that I want to see on 4K. This is my 4K wish list. There are a lot of movies that are continuing to be announced uh, to get a 4K format, which is really, really awesome. There are a lot of films, if done right, have a really nice transfer, and you can see a huge difference compared to the Blu-ray. Unfortunately, not every film is like that. There are occasions where the 4K is just a horrible transfer, and a lot of times it's better to just stick with the Blu-ray. And there are times where you really don't see a difference. It's almost like you're just watching a standard Blu-ray. It just, I think, depends on when the film was released. But at the same time, there could be films that came out more recently in the past 10 years or so, or 20 years, and looks 10 times better than the Blu-ray. And one of those I can point out is Across the Universe. This is a Beatles musical drama, romance, has a little bit of everything. It was released in 2007. The 4K release came out, I'm not exactly sure, maybe, a few years back. That transfer looks amazing. So there are occasions where a more, you know, recent film in the past 10, 15, 20 years could look a lot better compared to the Blu-ray. But a lot of times not so much. So there are still films out there that either don't have a Blu-ray release or have yet to be released on 4K. So I picked some films, 6 of them, that I would like to see get a 4K release, and maybe talk about who I would like to see release it. So we're going to start off with a really good one, and that is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, one of my favorite all-time films. It's such a fun musical as well. It's got Dick Van Dyke, who has had one amazing career, and this movie has had a Blu-ray for a very long time. Just more of a re-release with different artwork, same with the DVD. There's no 4K. I would love for this movie to finally get the 4K treatment. I think this movie would look done right. I think this movie would look outstanding. The amount of detail you would be able to see on everything would just really, really pop out. I think the sound would be great, especially, the music numbers. And not only that, but I feel like this movie deserves a Criterion release. When I think of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I think of the Criterion Collection right away. I think it would be cool to see a Criterion release for this film. I don't see any other company releasing this. Now, unfortunately, it is a Fox, so Disney owns it. But hopefully, since Disney did let the Criterion Collection release Wally, maybe there is that possible chance of getting other titles that Disney owns, whether it's a Fox title or a actual Disney title, to be released. And I feel like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is definitely on top of that list to be released, especially for the Criterion Collection. A lot of us grew up with this. A lot of our parents, I think, grew up with this, right? Because this came out, what, 68? Yeah, so, my parents were already born at that time. My mother was born in 67, my dad was born in 66, so they're about a year to 2 years old during this. So, this has been a film that a lot of us and our parents have grown up with, and whoever has kids today, their kids are growing up. That's what I love about a lot of these older films. It continues to grow throughout generations. So yeah, it's long overdue for a better edition, especially a 4K. And I feel like it deserves that criterion really. So yeah, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is on that list. Next, we have a Jim Carrey classic, The Mask. I don't know why this movie still has not been announced on 4K. I would love to see this one on 4K. This one is a New Line. So New Lines, of course, is owned by Warner Brothers. So I really don't see the excuse on why Warner Brothers cannot release it on 4K, considering a lot of the Warner Brother titles are getting 4K releases. This one definitely deserves it. The company I would like to see release this one would be Shout Factory as a Shout Select 4K. Jim Carrey's still doing his thing. You know, a lot of these actors are still, around, and it would be great for, an interview, like updated interviews, maybe, you know, talking about some of the actors who have sadly passed, the experience working with them, and, just learning different facts here and there. And I'm sure there's other footage out there that was never put on this Blu-ray. Maybe even do like a double and give us the animated series, as a a special feature, or a bonus disc or something. Do like a really cool collection pack where you get the movie as well as the animated series. So yeah, The Mask I think would look fantastic in 4K. Especially a lot of the scenes where he is, Jim Carrey's Stanley Ipkiss is the Mask, and you get a lot of that cartoonish stuff. I think would really pop out on this, and I feel like you'll see a lot of details, in this film better than what they are now. So yeah, I feel like this is long overdue for a 4K. And I feel like if you're gonna go with some Jim Carrey films on 4K, this is definitely one of them. I know as of right now they have the Truman Show out, and in Eternal Spot, what is it? Eternal Spotlight? No, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I think is another one that's on 4K. So I feel like The Mask, and then possibly, do not quote me on this, but what was the other one I was thinking of that should be released on 4K? It's The Majestic. At least do The Mask and The Majestic as potential 4Ks, but The Mask should be at least number one. It's such a fun movie. Before I get to the next one, I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of my coffee real quick. All right, gotta love coffee, especially early in the morning. All right, so this next one, this one does not have a Blu-ray release. I don't know why. Now it is an HBO video release, and I believe as of right now those are under like Warner Brothers. So I'm not 100% sure why I never got like a Warner Archive Collection Blu-ray release. It would make more sense because they've been doing that with a lot of titles, whether that's 90s or um, what is it, 90s or like 80s or even like the 50s and 60s and 40s and 30s. So to me, I think this movie would look great if they could really clean it up. Even if it doesn't go to the 4K format and gets a Blu-ray release with a 4K scan, I still think it would look great. But if it was able to get a release, I think it would be really awesome. And that is Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde. And I do apologize for the glare. So Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde kind of takes the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story and kind of flips it on its own, where you have a gentleman who finds out he's actually a relative, a um, distant relative of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and he gets all the paperwork and even the formula, you know, to create, the persona that, his relative had. And um, he decides to kind of change it because he is working for a company that is looking to create a women's perfume. So while, taking the formula information and kind of twisting it just a little bit, he transforms into a female. And he basically, the having being the I can't speak, being turned into a female allows him to kind of have a better understanding of creating this perfume for this company. And of course, just like Dr. O, Mr. Hyde, she kind of takes things into her own hand, and starts to cause trouble and wreak havoc in his life. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's weird, but it's fun and it's got a great cast. I mean, Jeremy Piven's in this, and there's a few other familiar faces, but yeah, it's hasn't had a transfer, a better transfer, or a better release. It's way out of print. I think I was able to actually get this one off of eBay for like a pretty good price, like 15 bucks or so. It isn't full screen, which is unfortunate, but I feel like this movie would look great in 4K or even just a Blu-ray with a 4K transfer. But if you're going to release it and skip the Blu-ray, go to 4K. I think it will look good. It'll look a lot better than what we have. I don't know if there's a widescreen version out there or if they can put it on widescreen. If they can, that would be cool. But nonetheless, just wouldn't mind having a 4K release of this. Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde definitely deserve something better. And you know, with a lot of films that you would never thought would get the day of a 4K release or even a Blu-ray release, I say never. The next one here is The Guyver 2. Now, as you guys know, The Guyver was released on 4K, which I'll eventually upgrade because I've heard the 4K actually looks really good. But unfortunately, The Guyver 2 has yet to not only get a 4K release, but a Blu-ray release. The Guyver has a Blu-ray release. It was released on Blu-ray through Arrow Video, and then Germany also had a Blu-ray release. And I think both of those are region free. I think they're both out of print, so they're gonna cost you a little hefty price. But there is a re-release on Blu-ray, which we never really officially got, as well as a 4K. So it really got the best of both treatments. But for Guyver 2, why are we still waiting? What is taking so long? I would love to see a 4K release, and I feel like the best people to put it out would either be the company who released the first movie on 4K or potentially have Arrow Video do it. Since they did such an excellent job with the first Guyver, I feel like they can do Guyver 2. And a little known fact, the actor who plays the Guyver in this went on to voice Solid Snake in the Metal Gear Solid games. That is right. So he's still doing his stuff. He's still acting, I believe, and doing voice acting. So have him do an interview as well as all the other actors who are still around, you know, during this film. Come on, you know, give us some features, some behind the scenes stuff if it's available, which I'm sure it is. So yeah, Guyver 2 I think would look really good in 4K, especially if you see the detail of the suit. Man, that's like the one thing I pay attention to the most is when you have these characters in like you know, these practical like latex costumes. I always want to notice the detail, you know. That's I want it to stand out because it's going to be the first thing you see. And yeah, I would love to see this in 4K. Next is Ernest Scare Stupid. Now I know this one has a Blu-ray release. It's long out of print. I think it was an Echo Bridge release or a Mill Creek. But this I think would look great in 4K, like a nice updated version of it. I think if you did it in 4K, I think the detail in the trolls would look absolutely amazing. Maybe clean up the CGI a little bit. I mean, there are films out there that you know have the original print before anything was ever done, any editing or even CGI. So I feel like if you can go back, redo the CGI, and put it on the 4K format, this would look absolutely amazing. Now the company I feel like could do great with this would be Shout Factory under the Shout Select line. I feel like it would be really great to see. Maybe even put like a little documentary on Jim Varney. I think would be great. Maybe even put all the old commercials that he did at one point. It just really depends on the rights and stuff, but I feel like Shout would do an excellent job giving this movie a 4K release. Um, so yeah, Ernest Scare Stupid is definitely one for sure. And lastly, this one I would love to see it, and that is Freaked. This is an Alex Winter film. Came out not too long after, I want to say, Bogus Journey. It's weird. Definitely a weird one, but it did get a Blu-ray release and then went out of print quick. I remember being on the hunt for this movie on Blu-ray. The DVD's out of print. I was able to get the Australian release. It is region free, so you'll never have any issues. I think a lot of the Australian DVDs and Blu-rays tend to be region free, not all of them, but a lot of times you don't really have any issues. Now, this movie has a great cast. I mean, you have the likes of Mr. T, Bobcat Goldthwait. I think Keanu Reeves has an uncredited, scene as the Wolfman. You've got William Sadler, that he worked with on Bogus Journey. You've got Randy Quaid. You got oh, what is her name? Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields is in this. Like, there's so many recognizable faces. Like, the actor who plays one of the brothers he plays um, the brother in Blossom alongside Joey Lawrence. He's in this, and he's hilarious. And it's just like a spoof, as well as just like creature feature costumes and claymation effects. Like, Alex Winter has a really great creative and imaginary mind when it comes to things like this. And yeah, this movie would look great in 4K because there's a lot of practical stuff, a lot of practical effects that I feel like would stand out really well, especially the costume with Alex Winter when he gets the mutation. That would look really good. I think the amount of detail you could see on that, giving a proper 4K transfer, would make this movie stand out really, really well. And of course, I would go out of print pretty quick too. Now, the company I would like to see release this one, it's hard to say because I feel like it would fall under three different companies. The first one being Scream Factory, the second being Arrow Video, and the third being Kino Lorber. Those three companies I feel like are a possibility to release this movie. But then there's also companies like Vinegar Syndrome or Severin. So it's very hard because this is one of those movies that has a cult following. It's out there, and I feel like those companies have a track record of releasing films like that, and I feel like one of those companies could release this on the 4K mat and do a really great addition. So it's really hard to say who I feel like would give us this type of release, because there's so many great boutique labels. It would be hard to figure out who would do it. But nonetheless, if we did, I think it would be awesome. But yeah, Freaked is one of those movies that I feel like just everybody needs to check out at least once. It's weird, it's entertaining. I think you guys have a good time. And if you're a fan of Alex Winter, it's a must, I would say. So yeah, those are the 6 films that I feel like deserve a 4K treatment, and who I feel like company wise should release them on the 4K format. Excuse me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. If you guys would like to let me know what your 4K wish list is, I would love to hear it. There are so many films out there that still need a 4K release, and if I can mention one honorable mention, it would be the film Steel with Shaquille O'Neal. It's a goofy movie. To a lot of people, it's bad, but I feel like it's so bad, it's so good. And another honorable mention would be Spawn with Michael Jai White and John Leguizamo, which over the years has grown on me. And even though I would be down for a remake, the supposed rumored remake with Jamie Foxx, I would be down for, but I still love the Michael Jai White and Martin Sheen, John Leguizamo film. It still holds a place in my heart. I still find it to be a fun comic book adaptation, even though the CGI could be done a little bit better. But those are at least 2 honorable mentions. But with that being said, thank you guys so much. Again, let me know what your wish list of titles you would like to see on 4K, even your honorable mentions. And I'm Film Talk with Mikey. Till next time, guys, we'll talk films. With that being said, you guys take care. Have a good one. I will see you guys next time.